What We Can Do is a series based on Acts. Welcome back. And we're having a look at the first followers of Jesus, how they were so filled with God's Spirit that they were unafraid and did whatever it was that God told them to do in the hope that we might become a little bit more unafraid in our own lives. In this particular passage of Scripture in Acts Gospel chapter 8, there's just this one line that I think is important to say, because this is a real characteristic of the book of Acts. It says this: "But the believers who were scattered preached the good news about Jesus wherever they went." Let me just backtrack. The believers were scattered not because they were lost. They were scattered because they were persecuted. And the persecution, when people came against it, they banned them. People were running for their lives. People were scattered all over the known world. You may not know this, but Jesus gave instructions to the disciples that their job as followers of Jesus was to take the message of Jesus to the entire earth. Of course, they didn't know how to do that. They didn't quite know how far they were supposed to go or how they were going to get there, but this sure helped. See, every time the people are persecuted in the Bible, especially in Acts, there is this thing that's happening that's bigger than the thing that's happening, which I think might be more true in you and in your life and in my life too, that the things that are happening where we're scratching our heads going why is this happening? Can you imagine being a disciple in Acts and you're doing the very thing God told you to do and then you're being persecuted for it, even by religious people? I mean, it makes no sense. And you're just going why is this happening? Now I'm in Ethiopia, that's where Philip goes, or I'm gone off into Asia Minor where I don't know anybody and the language is foreign and I don't know the people, and I'm in these situations where why is this happening to me? I should be able to do this in Jerusalem just fine. And of course, the disciples don't know, and you and I often don't know what's happening, but God has this plan that's bigger than ours. I know it's impossible to believe, but God has this plan that's bigger than ours. It's bigger than your life. And oftentimes the things that are happening to you in the moment where you're most confused and you're disturbed and you're thinking, why is this happening? If you actually surrender to the purposes of God, God has a plan that's bigger even than your own life. He has somebody that he wants to show his good news to, maybe somebody that needs forgiveness or help or truth, or someone from another place. And we see this in Acts, that God's purposes are so much bigger than the experience that the disciples are living at the time. This is true for them then, and it's true for us now. Your experience, even though it might be hard and difficult to understand, is part of a large plan that God has for this good news to get to the entire world.